Hello everyone, this is Miller. In today's presentation, I'm going to introduce a subculture named the hipsterfication, 文青次文化. Later, I will dig deeper this subculture into 5 parts. For the first one is a preface. Second, here comes a hipsters in Western culture. The third one is hipsters in Eastern culture. The fourth one is a related movement named hipster sexism. And the very last comes my conclusion to this culture. So moving back to the preface, by definition, hipsterification is a culture describing a group of people named hipsters. So what is hipsters? Hipsters, by definition, in the 21st century, a hipster is a member of a subculture that is defined by claims to authenticity and uniqueness, yet ironically is notably lacking in authenticity and conformance to a collective style. This subculture embodies a particular ethic of consumption which seeks to commodify the idea of rebel or a counterculture. Faction is one of the major markers of hipster identity. Members of the subculture typically do not self-identify as hipsters. The word hipster is often used as a pejorative for someone who is pretentious or overly concerned with appearing trendy and fashionable things in a non-mainstream way. So there are stereotypes raised that elements of hipsters include vintage clothes, alternative fashion, or a mixture of different factions, like skinny jeans, check shirts, neat beanies, a full beard, or a deliberately attention-grabbing mustache. So, as we can see in this kind of stereotypes, hipsters in Western cultures, they are a group of people being hated and stereotyped by the masses because most of the people think they are a group of people deliberately claiming their rebel toward the mainstream society. Here are 2 comments I found on the net. Writes that there was no more hated figure of the post-millennium era than the hipster. And the hipster believes their superpower is their ultra-discerning and highly specific taste. So to them, they are like the arbiter of the faction and mainstream, which occurs their hatred by the whole masses in the Western culture. However, on the contrary, in the Eastern culture, especially in Taiwan, they are a group of people full of compliments. There are 2 comments right that they are people with special taste and fashion and people with the personification of culture, refinement, and real class. So to most of the people in Taiwan, hipsters are like a symbol of someone with good taste, or have insightful comments on a social issue, or with an atmosphere of a literacy-like atmosphere, right? So compare this kind of 2 kind of impressions in different cultures. We could see an art movement named a hipster sexism that is related to this kind of subculture. Hipster sexism, right, is a movement in a woman movement. Like those hipsters being excluded by the whole society and the mainstream, the women in that era also think that they are a group of people being isolated and lessened by the men and the whole society. So one of the leader in the social movement trying to stand up and waking all the women, saying that we have to be like those hipsters, trying to fight against the so-called mainstream, those men and those masses. We have to be like those hipsters to stand up for ourselves, trying to defending our own culture and styles. Right. So that is a movement, a very famous movement named hipster. So in conclusion, to sum up, I think that uh, hipsters is a group of people with spatial taste on everything. Like everyone thought in Eastern culture, especially in Taiwan, I think hipsters are really cool person that deserves people's liked. There are lots of friends who can be held as hipsters in my lives. Most of them have good taste on fashion or have the atmosphere of the literacy. And concerning the social issue, they will always respond with an insightful comment or make special opinions on it. Some of them were trying to stand up for someone who needs some help on the social issues. So, as we can see from the above, a culture may have different faces in different culture. Thus, next time when we dig deeper into one specific culture or object, we have to bear a broader eye and mind to inspect the object that we are investigated in. With a broader mind and eye, I believe that in the near culture and a near future, we could witness a society with more love and without hatred. This is the end of my presentation. Thanks for listening.